All right, we'll get started here. Just a quick intro. Ashley McDonald is a program and institutional manager of the IRMC, the Rural Family Medicine Residency Program in Indiana, Pennsylvania. She brings extensive experience in graduate medical education administration with a focus on accreditation, program development, and operational excellence in a rural unopposed setting. Ashley serves on the Association of Family Medicine Administrators Board of Directors and is the co-chair of the Residency Administrative Development Workshop. She's passionate about supporting and advancing GME administrators through networking, training, certification, and mentorship. Welcome, Ashley, and thank you so much for presenting.
Okay, thank you all. Small group today, but we'll have lots of chatting time. If anybody has questions, please feel free to stop me as I'm going over something. Excuse me, I'll try not to cough. I apologize. So today our objectives are going to be to understand the purpose and value of the TAGME certification, to apply the steps and requirements for certification, and evaluate the impact on GME programs and professional growth. So what is TAGME? TAGME is it's the training administrators of graduate medical education, and it's a national certification program recognizing excellence in graduate medical education administration. It shows professional standards, validated expertise, and leadership development. Excuse me. So the TAGME mission exists to uphold the highest standards for professionals managing residency and fellowship programs for physicians in training. Knowledge and leadership and ensuring administrators are equipped to lead with expertise. Training and certification provides structured pathway to professional recognition, and program administration standards setting the bar for quality GME program operations. The purpose of the TAGME certification is not to memorize all of the information, but to simply know where to go to find the information. So why was TAGME created? This was created to show that the responsibilities of program coordinators have grown significantly in the scope and complexity. TAGME was created to meet that moment. It recognizes GME administration as professional roles, establishes national certification standards, and validates expertise in ACGME program administration. The certification measures knowledge and skill and ability required to manage accredited training programs. So who should pursue the TAGME exam? Anybody managing residency programs, fellowship programs, and GME offices. TAGME has recently, just within the past year, announced that they are going to have 2 tracks of certification now, a program track and an institutional track. In the past, everything was under 1 track. And so my certification, my credentials are C-TAGME, and you'll see that for everybody who has C-TAGME right now. But they are going to have a differentiator for institutional accreditation. So you can be program or institution, or you can do both, but they are going to be 2 different fees. Applicants must have 2 years of experience in the GME administrative role to be eligible. Certification requirements. Like I said, you must be working in GME. You must have 2 years under your belt. You must have education credits, or often known as ECs, and submit the application. There is an application fee. The fee for this year is $425. The application window did just open April 1st, and it runs through June 1st. And it is a login system, and you upload all of the things that you have. So if you attend conferences, you should be saving the agendas from conferences as proof of the sessions that you have completed. Joy ECs are the education credits. You'll see those right here. Education credits here. And I'll show you all the website here in a bit, where you can see more information about each of these areas. So the actual exam, it's 150 questions and it's 5 hours. So you have 5 hours to take it. It is open book. My manual that I printed for the exam, I still have. It's rather large, but this is my manual. I tabbed it. I'm gonna turn my video, turn my blur off so you can see it. So this is the manual that they have. This is on their website, and I simply printed it. I tabbed it so that it was easier for me to find the information during the test. I would not take the test without printing the manual. You can take notes in it, you can highlight. I attended a study session. I'll talk about that in a minute. But making notes of what I didn't do all the time. So a lot of times you study what you know and you kind of feel smart, right? Because this is what we do all the time. Of course I know this, let's just go over this. But it's the things that you don't do. So if you maybe don't take visas, then you really need to study the visa area and the ECFMG area, because regardless of if your program and institution offers it, it's still content that's going to be on the exam that you have to go over. So maintaining your certification, it's not a one-time achievement. When you take it, it is good for 5 years. My certificate is just up on my wall, just up there. But it's good for 5 years. And it, regardless of when you take it, it ends December of that 5th year is when it expires. So you want to take your MOC, it's a maintenance of certification prior to the expiration of your certification so that you don't have to start all over. And TAGME's also done something new where you take your maintenance of certification one time, and then thereafter, years after, you just have to submit educational credits to stay active. So that's a really great thing. For me, a bad test taker, like testing, I have a lot of test anxiety. So this was very, not my favorite thing in the world to do. I did it to show that I know my job. I know where to find the information. And again, it is not to memorize things. They want you to be able to go and research and find the information. So why does it matter? Again, it shows program excellence, professional credibility, ACGME compliance, and training quality. You know your role. It's validation for yourself that, a lot of times we have imposter syndrome of, oh, like why am I doing this role? Like sometimes I don't actually think I know what I'm doing. And for me, I'm like, no, wait, I do know what I'm doing. Like, I know where to go and find the answer. I know that I have people that I can go to. Leslie read in my bio, like, I'm a huge advocate for mentorship and networking. Everybody should have a mentor. If you don't have one, you need to get one. But I have people that I can reach out to and say, hey, I should know this, but I just don't. And they're like, yes, you do. It's this. I'm like, oh, yeah, you're right. So just people that can, help bring you down slightly. So resources to get started with TAGME. I mentioned the TAGME website. It's tagme.org. If you've not been there, you should visit and see there's all kinds of things on the website. And then the second one here is called INSAMA. And this is another group that they offer a free study session. Something I want to really hit hard is that you should never, ever, ever pay for resources or a study session when it comes to TAGME, studying, certification, any of it. If you are, that is a very fraudulent thing, and they will tell you you are not to be paying for any sort of studying. On their website, they offer the certification guide is there. It's extremely important to use the guide that they release for that test. So what happens is the test window, certification window is open right now, April 1st to June 1st. ACGME has institutional requirements that are out and pending right now as new changes. If they come back and say, these are going to be active July 1st, that is not what's going to be on the test. It is not going to be the new content. It is going to be what is already in the notebook and the certification guide that was released by TAGME. So if you're studying new requirements and answering questions on the test per a new requirement, you might get that question wrong because you're not answering them per the study guide that they released. I know that doesn't sound like it sounds a little bit backwards, but that's the way they have to release the study guide. They've gone over the study guide. They make the questions from that study guide. So it's extremely important to just use the study guide that is for that year. One of my friends asked me if she could have my study guide from a couple of years ago. And I said, you can, it's not going to be helpful to you. Like there's a new guide. You shouldn't use mine. You should use the one that they just put out. But what I did to study was Ensama has a weekly study group and it's Thursdays and they start July through November every Thursday from 3 p.m. to 4 p.m. Eastern time. It's 1 hour and all you do, it's a Zoom and they just put questions out. So they'll put a poll question out in the format that the question would be asked for the exam. And you answer the question. And so you can see if you get it right or wrong. A lot of people answer too fast. A lot of people don't look the answer up. You might think you know the answer, but you have to like make sure you're reading. It's not a not or a should or a must or a could. Make sure you're reading the words on the paper for what it's actually asking you. And look everything up. 5 hours is not a lot of time. It sounds like a lot of time for 150 questions, but you can answer your question. You can flag it. You can go back. But at the end of it, you want to have every question answered. And then at the end of the exam, when you hit submit, you find out right then and there if you passed or not. So what counts towards the educational credits? GME conferences. So a lot of these have been offered virtually, and I think we're all moving back to in person. So any GME conferences, and you should start thinking about this now. Even if you maybe are just thinking about TAGME, you're not quite ready for it, still start like tracking your things. I have a folder in the back of my desk that when I get back from conference, I just dump my certificates in there. Anytime I do something, get a certificate, I dump it in there. And it helps too with keeping my resume up to date when I go back through that and just kind of update everything. GME webinars, institutional education, presentations or teachings, scholarly work, and community service. So on their website, they will delineate how many hours of what that they will accept. So like, I couldn't just do 30 hours of webinars like I'm doing right now. They would want some of the GME conferences to be in there as well. So they want 30 hours of GME related education within the past 3 years for initial certification. So certificates of completion, I mentioned, conference agendas, I mentioned as well, brochures for any sort of like sessions, local sessions that you might do or participate in, and institutional training documentation. This group is great. Like if you were to present on a month to your your co-coordinators, that would count as an educational credit if you could show that somewhere. But just track everything you do. It matters. And then the key takeaways for here is, again, the validated expertise for the TAGME certification, program quality. It shows professional growth. You want to grow in your role. You want to continue to do more or just prove that you know your role. And role recognition. It's nice to have a few little letters behind your name to show that you have done the work to know the most that you can about your role. So I'm going to stop sharing and I'm going to switch over to the website. Maybe. Okay. Can you all see my screen, the TAGME website? So this is the website. And so it shows here the initial certification guide. This is what you want. Maintenance of certification or MOC, that guide's there. And then the subsequent, that is the after you've taken the MOC one time. So if we click on the initial certification guide, it's going to download to your computer. And if we look at this, this is the guide to become certified. So that's not actually the study guide. So this guide, you can see I can't see it. There it is. 13 pages of how-tos that they give you. How to sign up. These are the dates, the windows that you can take the exam, when you can sign up for the exam, blackout dates for the exam. And they did just put something out just this week, a couple of days ago, that said that you cannot schedule your exam more than 120 days in advance. So think about that. It's just like any other exam. So you're at the mercy of what's available. So if you want August 21st, but there are no more times on August 21st, you've got to like go to another date. So as soon as that's also more than 120 days in advance. So, well, at this point, it might not be. It might be right at it. But anyways, you get what I'm saying. 120 days, 4 months. You just have to watch the dates that you want to schedule. So it shows your criteria, the educational requirements that we went over, application instructions, their review process, the fees, and how to prepare for the exam. And so you can see here, a minimum of 12 EC credits focused directly on GME. But this breaks it down pretty nicely. And the website, they're just boxes that you insert, and then you like drop down what credit that this is going to count for. What doesn't count: CCC, APE, PEC meetings, GMEC meetings, orientation, ACGME site visits, and any activity occurred at the last application since the last not yet occurred. Sorry about that. So you'll have to go in, create an account. Again, it walks you through everything that you need to do, and it's pretty self-explanatory. They're also very communicative. So if you have questions about anything, you can reach out to them via this email here. So you'll also need a letter from one of the following people in this list, verifying you, your employment, your role. The fee again is $425. So I just want to speak to, oh, sorry, Joy, go ahead.
I'm sorry. I just wanted to ask a couple of questions. So if you did go to the ACGME conferences in the past, like last year and the year before, does that count? Or,
Yep.
Okay. And then what if you fail the test? What happens then?
That's what I was just about to say. Okay. So you take the initial certification. That's 150 questions, 5 hours. You find out if you pass or fail. The first time that I took the test, I did not pass it. I failed it by 5 questions or five points. Each section is weighted differently in how many points it's worth. So you should know that as well. So then I was like, oh my gosh, are you kidding me? Like, I do not want to sit through this again. I don't want to pay more money. I don't want to, just do I do it again? Like, I put so much time and effort into it. Again, I'm a terrible test taker. How did you just all of this self-talk started happening, right? Like, it's open book. Like, how did this happen? I don't understand. And so I just talked myself up and said, okay, you know what? I'm just going to give it a try. I'll take a retake. So I did register for the retake, and it was a little less than the initial. And I gave myself a couple of weeks. Also, don't wait until the last month to do this, because I did that and I was up against like, oh, I only have 2 more weeks to do it. I don't have like another month to study again. It was less questions. The retake was less questions, and it was 4 hours, not 5 hours. And I passed it like by 10 on the retake. So I don't know. It does show you actually, here's my score report. So my score report says my score was 135, and the passing score was 140. The highest scoring was 175. And so it does give you like a chart like this, and each one of these are different areas of ACGME common program requirements, and it tells you how many questions there were, how many you got correct, and how many you got incorrect. So you get this nice little report so that I could see, oh, that this is an area, fellowships. I don't have fellowships, so I scored very low in fellowships. I needed to study that a little bit more. And that would have fellowships is what did me in. So had I, studied that area more, I probably wouldn't have been in that situation. But this was a really nice report to go from. And so I went back and studied that area more. And there were some questions that I remember like second guessing myself on that I would write down or remember after the fact. Because you can't have a pen during the test. But after, like, I just remembered, like, oh, this area I know I need to go back and look at because, yes, I found it in the requirement book, but I just want to, like, read on that a little bit more. The NRMP rules, the specialty matching services for programs and for the applicants. You've got to know both of those or like read over both of those. We don't necessarily read over the applicant part because we're not applicants. So like you really just have to think about what you don't do and that's the area that you need, to spend a little bit more time on. Does that answer your question, Joy? Go ahead. You're good. You're
Sorry, I
muted.
had one more question.
Yeah.
I was so there on the ACGME website, there's a coordinator training series. Does that count towards the CECs if you get the certificate, if you get because they give you like 1 hour, 1.5 hours of
Yeah.
training and a little certificate when you finish it?
Yeah, I would guess. Let me look at the EC list again. Yeah, that's professional development. So, yep.
Okay, perfect.
And they don't ask for the proof, you just file it. So you just fill in the things. You don't have to upload copies of all of these things. And I'm very much well, how are they going to know? Like, what if I lied about it? Like, what if, I need to upload these somewhere? There's got to be an upload. There's not. Unless they've changed it since I've done it. It's just to fill in the box. And I know I have a file back there if they were to ask for the documentation. I do
And
have that readily
that
available.
goes for the conferences too? Or do you have to have proof of
Yeah.
those? Okay. All right.
Well, at the end of a conference, when you do your evaluations, you typically have a certificate of completion. That's what I have back there.
Okay.
But if you're like presenting at a conference, then you would want the agenda to show like your presentation is this and you were the presenter, something like that. It
Thank
didn't
you.
happen if it's not in paper or in writing, right? So that's
Right.
the kind of mentality you just have to have. Any other questions right now? Nope. Okay. So that was the fee. Confidentiality, you have to sign a thing when you start saying that you're not going to disclose the questions and you're not going to do stuff like that. So I'm going to hop over here to Insama. Can you guys still see my screen? Yes. Okay. So Insama, it's this National Society of Academic Medical Administrators. And they go over to news and resources. It's this TAGME study group. And I'm sure there are others out there. This is just what I use. And now that we're in the day of AI as well, you could take the whole entire manual. Actually, I'm going to go backwards. Let's find the manual. We're back on the TAGME site. Maybe they don't have a manual out yet for this year. Yes, they do. It's the certification guide. examination guide. Find all examination details here. I don't know why they have that so hidden. But here's the exam guide for this 2026 year. This is still not the right thing because it's only 11 pages. This is how to sign up for the exam. So you sign up through this measurelearning.com and emails come directly from them. So if you have an institution like mine who blocks a lot of emails because they don't want spammed, you might have to put them into your inbox, like save them as a user so that you actually get the emails. But I want to find the actual study guide. There it is. That looks better. 360 pages. So this is the official study guide, the only one. So if we look, I'm going to scroll down here. If you look at this here, this says TAGME study guide page 1, but if you go up here, it says page 5. When they refer to page numbers in your exam, they are referring to the red letter. That's very important to know. It's a thing with them. You have to pay attention to the red numbering on the tops of these pages. Control F is your best friend in this exam. So when I took the exam, it's supposed to, you have access to the study guide inside of the exam. However, it was supposed to open side by side. Mine was opening on top of the exam, so I couldn't read the question and have the book open at the same time. So I would Control F, find it on the computer, go to the page in my physical book that I printed, and then go back to the exam so that I could read verbatim, because you have to make sure you're reading the question correctly. It's like they try to trick you sometimes, and you can read too fast and like think that they're asking the wrong thing or asking something differently. But this has absolutely everything you need. So I took this table of contents. This is the table of contents for the whole study guide, made tabs for all of the bold sections, and then I filed them into the tabs. And with the Insama study group, you would get weekly emails with the questions that were asked, and they'll do like this week we're going to talk about common program requirements. And so at least that's the section that you've got to be thinking about. It doesn't jump around. And same for the exam. The exam is done by section. So this section, we're going to go to NRMP specialties requirements. So you could go ahead and flip to that section and already be there for any answers that you might need to find there. So it opens again. So you see it's free of charge. That is like, again, you should not be paying for anything. It's free of charge, and they start July and run through November. And again, it's every Thursday from 3 to 4 p.m. Eastern time. So July, if you would come back to this page, there would be a link here to sign up, and then you'll automatically be sent a Zoom link for every Thursday from the time that you sign up until November when they've completed their study sessions. You can go to as many as you want, as little as you want, but at the end of every week, they also send an email with the questions that were asked and the answers. So I printed all of those emails and also have those in my study guide. You are allowed to have resources like that. So I had all of those questions, and I knew like what I was getting wrong, and I would study in those sections. So that's what I did to study. It worked for me. I would, suggest getting into a study group. Again, like in the day of AI, you could take the whole entire study guide and put it into AI and say, create study questions based on the manual, something like that. To know that content, your New Mexico group could do a study group yourselves, and do something like that. But for me, it was a very validating experience, knowing that I do know where to find the information. I will often say, like, I'm not going to speak to that. Like, I want to go look it up and then I want to tell you the answer because I don't want to guess and I don't want to tell you the wrong information. But I know where to find what I need to find. So, but that's pretty much all I have for today. I hope I didn't scare you away from the exam. It's such a good like professional development tool to keep in your toolbox. It shows that you want to grow in your position, you're serious about your position and the position that you're in. We are a part of the leadership team for the ACGME in our programs. So I think that it's really important to be able to feel that validation if that is what does it for you. And if not, then, whatever makes you happy. So are there any other questions?
I was just wondering, is it a multiple choice question test?
Yes. And a lot of times, like, if you think about your residents when they're taking boards and they're like, oh my gosh, I feel like an idiot after, like, all my residents are like, dude, I don't know anything. I'm like, I'm sure you're fine. It's the same exact thing. Like, after I was done, I was like, oh my gosh, do I not know my job? Like, what the heck? So there are like a lot of answers that sound right, but it's what's the most correct. Like, what does the requirement actually say? So, this is how we do it, but what does a CGME requirement say? And so it's not necessarily verbatim going to always be in the book, but it's also about comprehension of the requirement. So this is the requirement, this is the situation, how do you handle that based on the requirement? So you'll get some of that as well. Is anybody planning on taking it this year?
Possibly, maybe.
Yeah.
Definitely.
And for me at my institution, they did give me there was like incentive. So I did get a pay raise and they did pay for my exam. So if your institution is going to offer, I don't know what your institution offers, but if they're going to offer to pay for that, that's a huge perk. Why not do it, if it's going to be paid for? And when I did the retake, I just paid for it out of my pocket because that's not the institution's fault that I failed it. So I didn't even ask. I just took that on myself and I still wanted to pass it and, have that validation.
So our position, we haven't had an actual program going. We've been trying to get one going, and I've done tons of trainings, and I've been in the role for over 2 years. Do you think there's a chance I could pass if I haven't actually, um, had residents?
Yeah, I think definitely. I think it might be a little bit harder for you because you're not living the requirements quite yet with residents like boots on the ground. I think that contextually it might be a little bit trickier. Some of the requirements make more sense once you have boots on the ground. Like, why do they care about sleeping? Like, why do they care about like offering food? Like, there's a cafeteria, go get food. But all residents care about food. If that's one thing I've learned in this job, and I can't understand, I can't understand it. But they will obsess about food as if they are poor, starving little creatures. And that's the only time of the day that they eat is when they're at work, and they expect it to be free as well. Well, the requirement says that you offer food to the residents. It does not say free food. It says that there is food offered 24 hours a day. That is the requirement. So it's little things like that, like, oh, yeah, we offer food, but if you think like it's not offered 24 hours a day because the cafeteria is not open 24 hours a day, well, we have like meal vending machines. So yes, we do have food offered 24 hours a day. It might not be free and it might not be a hot meal and you have to microwave it, but there is food available 24 hours a day. So it's like just things like that you kind of get into the nitty gritty that might be a little trickier to remember. It's things like that are in the day to day that I remember and didn't look up those answers because I knew the answer to the question. Like we deal with this all the time. But it's the things that you maybe don't deal with quite as frequently that you might have to really look up and make sure you're understanding appropriately. Any other questions?
I have a question if no one else has any. Is this test taken at a facility, or do you take this at home through like virtually?
Yeah, so you could do either. I took it virtually at home. I didn't go to a testing center, but you can schedule either or. But I took it here. They're very particular about the environment that you're in for a test. So I took it, I couldn't take it in my office. I have too many papers, too many things on my board. I'm not willing to disassemble my whole entire office to get rid of information. And they will make you like show your phone and make you like put it way over here, face down. During the test, they made me take my glasses off and flip them around to make sure they weren't smart glasses. They had me pick up my computer and show them the room, that it was pretty much a blank canvas. So there was an office just across from mine that wasn't utilized. So I just went over to that office. Also being in the office, like, you know, when you're here, like the residents know you're here, your door is just revolving all day. So I just put an out of office on and like I'm 100% unavailable and kept the lights off except for the office that I was actually testing in. My PD knew I was actually here. She knew I was testing. So she really helped like, you know, like police the door and like don't go in there. So that's what I did. Some people go to a library or book a conference room or just do it at their house. Or maybe your office is a lot cleaner and not as cluttery as mine with information on cork boards, but they do look extensively. You can take a break and go to the bathroom. You can have a bottle of water. They made me take the paper off of my bottle of water. If you go to the bathroom, the time does not stop on your test. So I am like a nervous Nelly. So the first thing I did was I wrote how many questions I should have done per hour so that I could see if I was behind or ahead. Like I just did the math real quick. And well, I did it in my manual and they were fine with that. So I knew that I had to have 35 questions done in the first hour. And there's no clock on the screen. It just shows you how much time is remaining in your test. So I knew by 60 minutes, or I knew by, it was counting down. So I just had to like do it backwards. Like I knew I needed 35 questions done with X amount of minutes left. So at one point I knew I was kind of like getting behind and I had no time to go to the bathroom. So I quit drinking water. Like I didn't have snack time, I didn't have bathroom time. And I knew that going in. So I just had like a very early breakfast, went to the bathroom right before I was done and just like took little sips if I needed to, because like the time, like how much time it would take you to go to the bathroom. And when you come back, they have to recheck the room, your phone, all of the things that they checked to start the initial. So it's eating into a lot of the testing time. So, yeah, it's the clock doesn't stop, unfortunately. But I took it here. It was convenient. I took it in November. Didn't want to have to like fight with weather. Like it snows here. We could have a snowstorm in November. So it was just easier to know that I could be home and just do it here at the office.
So there is someone like monitoring, like watching or supposedly watching you.
So just like you guys have your like your videos on right now, like somebody was through the camera watching me test the whole entire time.
Wow.
And that's like one of their people. And at the end of it, like occasionally they would say, "Hey, is everything going okay? Do you need anything?" And I would say, "Nope, I'm good." But I almost like forgot they were there because they're not on the screen. You
Right.
just like know that your webcam is on and that they're like, it's like this figurative person in a space, like watching you take a test.
How long did you say it took you to finish the test?
It's 5 hours. So then
That's
you can
intense.
schedule. It really is. It's like a board exam. Like I was explaining it to the residents. They were like, geez, it's like our like steps or levels. I'm like, I know, that's what I felt like too. Except for I think their time stops to go to the bathroom and this did not. Um, so it took me all of 5 hours. And I flagged a bunch of questions. Once I got to like 30 minutes left or 20 minutes left, like I just went through and made sure everything was answered at that point because an unanswered question is automatically wrong, as opposed to just answering it and maybe getting it right. Right. So I did do that to a few. But again, like the fellowship area is what got me. So I knew like, oh, well, it kind of tracks because we don't have fellowships and I've not looked into them. So I just, I didn't study that section well enough. But in my role, I'm the program and institutional manager. We have one program, we're a single sponsoring institution. So it worked to my benefit that I knew the institutional requirements well as the program requirements. So there were other areas that I needed to study. Like CLEAR. CLEAR was a section on here. CLEAR is gone. Like it should not be on the test for this year. That is a thing of the past. ECF&G is a big, big area. If you do not have, let me see what the biggest area is actually. The largest question area was the common program requirements, and there were 55 questions there. And then the next one was the institutional requirements at 40 questions. So those were the biggest two sections of the whole entire exam.
How long have you been in your position before you decided to take the certification?
2 years. So I was right at like, I've been in my position for 2 years, I'm eligible, and I took it.
I'm like right on the cusp where I've been in a program for 2 years, but it's two different programs. So I think I'm going to wait until I've been in this particular spot for 2 years and then take it, because I'm also the institution and the program coordinator. So
yeah, that'll definitely work to your benefit.
No,
but also like you don't have to be in the same specialty of a program. Yeah. Like if you've been in GME, that counts. But I mean, whatever you think is best for you. But just so you know, you don't have to be in the same program. You just have to be in GME.
Yeah. And I think my biggest thing is the 30 hours is what I need to work on getting, because I just haven't had that time to do it. So I think that's a big thing too.
Yeah, for sure.
Thank you. You really helped me understand it a little bit better.
Good. I'm glad. I'm like, oh, I hope it's like, it's enough information. It's not too much information and it's not scary.
It actually made me less scared.
Right.
This was, well, it was really great speaking with all of you today. I'm really glad I was able to, talk and help out a little bit. You guys have my slides, my contact information's there. Feel free to reach out if you have any other questions or need tips or tricks. I'm happy to help.
Thank you so much for presenting.
Yes, thank you so much. I really appreciate you.
All right. Thank you guys, and have a good day and a good week.
Thank you.
Thanks, everyone. Bye.